showcasing the company's commitment to innovative solutions. Meanwhile, the federal government, through the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, erecting 5.21 trillion naira from the sales of crude oil, gas and other economic activities in the first 6 months of 2025. It said the revenue inflow represents 42.7% of the record 12.2 trillion naira it generated in the entire 2025 fiscal year, 2024 rather, a fiscal year. The figure, however, represents only 34.7% of the 15 trillion naira revenue target set by the federal government for the Commission to implement the 2025 budget. The revenue was derived from royalties, gas sales, flat gas penalties, and joint venture or profits. And now to the non-oil sector, as non-oil exports boom, hitting $3.2 billion in 6 months. Nigeria's non-oil exports soared to $3.225 billion in the first half of 2025, marking yet another milestone in the sector's growth, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEP, announced. This figure represents a 19.59% increase over the $2.696 billion recorded in the same period of 2024. The Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of the NEPC, Noye Ayeni, disclosed this while presenting the Council's first half-year progress report on the nation's non-oil export performance. She said the volume of goods shipped abroad also rose to 4.04 million metric tons from 3.83 million metric tons in the first half of last year, driven by strong global demand for Nigerian commodities from energies and emerging markets such as India, Brazil, Vietnam, and other African countries. And now we'll go on a quick break, and when we're back, our Business 360 continues, looking at global economic standings around the world and the markets. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. It's your Business 360, and my name is Blyden Kim. And as to global economic standings around the world and the markets, beginning with Russian trade, as a trade in Russia finds surplus narrowing. Russia recorded a trade surplus of $9.3 billion in June 2025, narrowing from the $11.8 billion surplus in the corresponding period of the previous year. A trade surplus is the amount by which the value of a country's export exceeds the cost of its import, while trade deficit is the amount by which the cost of a country's import exceeds the value of its exports. Export in Russia contracted by 8% annually to $32.8 billion in the period, the lowest since 2020, to mark a fifth consecutive month of decline in foreign sales as lower oil prices and softer commodity demand from Russia's key trading partner China apart buying from Russia's key industries that are shown from commerce with the West. In turn, imports contracted by 1.3% to $23.6 billion, a second consecutive decline. Russia has been running regular trade surpluses since 1998, primarily due to high exports of commodities like crude oil and natural gas. The biggest trade surpluses were recorded with Netherlands, Turkey, Italy, and Japan. The biggest trade deficits were recorded with China, the United States, and France. And now to the markets, looking at the price of lithium as lithium surges on key mine closure. Lithium is a silver-white light metal. Lithium hydroxide is used in batteries for electrical vehicles and mobile phones. Lithium hydroxide is produced from a chemical reaction between lithium carbonate and calcium hydroxide. The biggest lithium producers are Chile, China, Australia, and Argentina. The largest lithium importers are China, Japan, South Korea, and the United States. Lithium carbonate prices rose past 75,000 Chinese yuan per ton in August, nearly raising this year's slump to the highest since March as a possibility of lower output from key mines countered oversupply worries. The Chinese government pledged capacity cuts to major industries that have suffered from deflationary pressures in recent years, driving investors' debates on an outlook of lower lithium supply out of the world's top refined lithium producer. Expectations of an overhaul to mining policy gained traction after the world's top battery producer, CATL, suspended activity in the Zhangshua mine after failing to extend a key mining permits. The mine is responsible for around 5% of global supply. And now let's go to the market then, first beginning with the metal market, and afterwards we'll see the rest of the commodity market, and in that regard also looking at the financial market, the metal market this morning. A metal market indicates the price of gold. A price of gold this morning, 3,348 US dollars per ounce, and indicating the price of silver at 37 dollars per ounce. And the metal market has been gaining this morning. The bulk of these commodities gaining. Now to the energy commodities. Energy market this morning. Energy market comes with its ups and downs. Crude oil, U.S. crude price at 64 US dollars per barrel, upward by 0.084 points, a gain of 0.13%. And Brent, which represents Nigeria's price benchmark, a price level stands at 66 US dollars per barrel, a gaining 0.1%. And now, the agricultural market. Agricultural commodities indicates the price of soybeans at 975 US dollars per bushel, dropping 13.76 points, a negative 1.39% decline. Wheat price at 510 US dollars per bushel, falling by 4.53 points. Lumber price falling 16 points. The price of palm oil stands at 4,410 Malaysian ringgit per ton, gaining 26 points this morning, a 0.59% appreciation. And now to the stock market. A U.S. stock deep to kick off the week. Well, quickly, as we talk about how U.S. stocks is gaining, let's look at the African stock and their performances today. African stock market begins with a Nigerian stock at 145,948 index points, gaining 192 basis points this morning. South African stock market this morning also gaining 101,042 point, gaining 412 points at an index point of 101 and 42 points. Another South African stock, SA40, gaining 362 points, but Egyptian stocks, EGX30, is falling just slightly this morning at 12 basis points. A Nairobi stock, Nairobi 20 in Kenya, are gaining 21 basis points. And now let's look at the Nigerian stock markets in the last 7 days. What the indices has been for the Nigerian commodities in the last 7 days. Looking at the sector trends in the Nigerian stock market, but the market is up 5.1% in the last 7 days, led by a consumer staples and materials sector. Well, real estate also has gained hugely. It's gained the most, 29.71%. Consumer discretionaries gaining 9.32%. But on the drop side, the tech sector has fallen the most. And now let's conclude and look at the top gainers in the last 7 days and also the top losers in the last 7 days. Top gainers in the last 7 days. Boa Foods has gained the most, a price level of 588 naira per share, gaining 11.2%, a whooping 1.1 trillion naira added to the market in the last 7 days. On a yearly basis, 54% has been the gain for Bois Foods. Bois Cement second in that direction. Let's look at the top losers in the last 7 days in the Nigerian stock market. In the last 7 days, MTN Nigeria Communication has lost the most, dropping 4.2%, a whopping 19.4 billion naira, erased from the market, with the price level being 460 naira per share. A WAPCO at second position, dropping. Zenith Bank also falling, and Presco falling in the last 7 days. It's been attraction in the market this morning, the direction in the world of business. And here we draw the curtain on today's edition of Business 360. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being a part of it. My name is Blyden Okem.